There's a very unique event that's happening at a local business here in West Bloomfield, a 2-day art event series that's happening specifically at Art and Frame in West Bloomfield. And it's a lot going on, but with me right here on the Splash Live to kind of break that down and talk about it, both artists and curators for that 2-day event series, we have Daniel Parker, and Kya Shipman joining us right here on the Splash. Thank you both for being here.
How you doing? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Great. So we're talking about a very, very unique art series, a 2-day event, first and foremost at that. Let's just get into it, starting with you, Daniel, if you don't mind. What inspired you to even create this cartoons and serial event series?
Well, it happened a long time ago, actually. It started maybe before the pandemic, probably before I moved back to Michigan, actually. I wanted to be able to put a platform together and, just basically get artists that I know in the city that wanted to be a part of the event, because we've had a rough 5 years with the pandemic and everything. And with that being said, boredom happened. And then with boredom, we didn't have anything during the pandemic to do. So during the pandemic, I started jotting down a lot of notes, started thinking about, like, you had a lot of time, had a lot of thoughts. Basically, like, I had, I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous, but I basically had a lot of time on my hands to basically come up with this idea of what I like watched as a kid, like a lot of things that brought a lot of joy when I was a kid, and I wanted to be able to display that on some art, basically. My grandmother passed in 2018, and that was the motivation for me right there. Everything began.
Sorry to hear that.
Yes, so with her passing, she gave me the motivation to want to put together this show. Basically how I grew up. I grew up in a house with a big family. We all used to get up in the morning, watch cartoons, eat a lot of cereal. And with that, that's how I had a passion with art. So I started drawing, and then when my grandmother passed, I kept hearing her voice of like do something, like create. She always knew I knew how to draw, so she would always tell me to keep drawing. I kept hearing her voice, so I started drawing. Then eventually started messing around with some paints, and then I moved back to Detroit. Ended up getting back with my mentor, and we did a few murals around the city. And then, like I said, during the pandemic, I just had a lot of time to really register and everything. And I came up with these ideas, and then I had a host of friends that basically knew how to do art as well, that were passionate, and we all had similar backgrounds in childhood. So, everybody gets a lot of inspiration from, their childhood. So that's the basis and the premise of it.
Yeah, I like to hear that, Daniel, and that's great too, because I'm an advocate for art and creativity in general, and we talk about that a lot right here on this platform. Continuing with you real quick, Daniel, and then Kya, I want you to actually answer and add on to this too. How did you curate the group exhibition? What criteria did you use for the artists and their work to be displayed?
For me, well, just what was the story behind that? Like, what was the story of like, when you hear a cartoon and serial, what do you think of? Like, what do you get that? A lot of them had was family oriented. A lot of them, a lot of the responses I got, and then a lot of the works that I've seen. A lot of people were passionate and had a lot of, like I said, a lot of the similar interests, and that's kind of how we picked it. And a lot of them are a lot of seasoned artists as well. So I've done shows with them around the city, and some of them I know, like they're really great friends. So.
And just
Kya, you too want to add on?
Yeah, of course. Like Danny said, a lot of it started with what were they saying, and we wanted to keep it similar to like things that Danny was doing, taking inspiration from his like family, his upbringing, continuing on that conversation, kind of like of storytelling, this history, this legacy. And then even beyond that, looking stylistically, we wanted to capture a range. So looking at things that were more quote unquote animated or cartoonish, but in a style that was like super like elevated and fun and familiar. And then also looking at things that were more on the realism side. Because even looking at Danny's own work, he blends the two kind of like effortlessly. So we wanted something that felt very native to his own styles, looking at all different types of factors.
Nice, nice, nice. And I love how it takes so many different perspectives to come through, so many different, even you doing a survey, Daniel, to kind of get people's feel for even just the title. I love all the work that went into this actual planning for this event. With us right here live on the Splash, talking about an art event series happening at Art and Frame in West Bloomfield. We have curators and artists for that event, Daniel Parker and Kya Shipman, excuse me. Now, I want to ask you about this, going back to you, Daniel, real quick. Why is it important or significant for you all to partner with a business locally in West Bloomfield like Art and Frame for your art event?
I just felt like it made sense, and then just going in there and talking to Bradley and just seeing how passionate he was about what he does. Like, it was certain things I didn't know about framing, and I was just sitting there. It was supposed to be like when I initially met with him, we were supposed to meet for a half an hour. I ended up being in the store with him for 4 hours just because we were just talking about life, talking about, his craft, talking about the different frames and the glass. And I was like, man, I said, I'm an artist, and I never really thought about that. You know what I mean? I never really thought about that aspect as far as the framing. And, framing is so important to your art. Like, it's the preservation, the preservation of it, it like keeps the art together, and it makes it just look so much, the presentation just looks so much better. And he had so many different styles in there. And like I said, he was very passionate. And then I was like, well, I'm doing the show. So I'm bringing the source to you. You make the frame. I'm bringing the artist to you. So it just made a lot of sense, And then also he's going to be able to enlighten so many of the artists in the community,
Yes, no, that's great. That's a great point right there. And I've had a chance to talk to Brad too over at Art and Frame. Great people over there. I love everything that they're doing. And like you said, framing your artwork is a whole nother aspect to the artwork in itself. That's art itself. You know what I'm saying? As you probably already knew, like there's certain types of framing that helps with certain types of pictures, preserve it a little bit better, makes it look a whole bunch nicer also. And like I said, I already know you know about that. So great information right there. Kya, getting to you real quick. How do you believe community events like this play a role in supporting and amplifying the voices of local artists?
I think, I know this saying is for raising children, but I use it regardless. It takes a village. And I think even like looking at like the month of design, Art and Frame, us as individuals, us as brands, the other artists, it really does take everyone's involvement for everyone's success. So having Bradley come and offering the space and having something that was already in line with storytelling, that's one thing. Having the support of design core, that's another thing. Having the support of the artists and just having them willing to participate and believe in us, that's like a whole other thing. So when everybody kind of puts this like best foot forward and is like wanting to do this more like community-based events, one, it helps not only themselves, but everybody in their community. And when that's going on, it's like almost inevitable for everybody to kind of level up. And I know me and Danny and everybody involved, we kind of like move like that. And I know Detroit as a whole moves like that. So,
yes, ma'am.
We're just going to keep going.
Thanks for building.
Yeah. No, I get it. And no, the way you put it, it just makes sense. Like, we need these voices, these opportunities, these platforms and spaces for our local artists to express themselves. This is the way that we express ourselves. I'm including myself in that as an artist. This is the way we express ourselves, through that type of art. So to have these platforms and collaborate with each other and with businesses, it makes so much of a difference. We kind of running low on time, but real quick, before we get out of here, Daniel, going to you real quick. What do you hope attendees will engage, or how do you hope attendees will engage with the art and the activities during the exhibition?
I hope they engage by just talking to your neighbor, getting familiar. Also just reflecting and taking a step back and looking at some of the things that they had as a child that they maybe took for granted. As we get to these new ages and
new times, we understand that time is of the essence, and some of those
Technology.
things,
Yep.
technology, it just lets you know how things just keep moving. Nothing stays the same, and one item may be able to take you back. And then it's also funny. Certain generations may not have seen or used a VCR. Something so simple, man. So I'm gonna have a few different items in there from the past. I actually have a lot of old stuff from my childhood that I'm gonna have that my mom preserved in a box. So it's all gonna be scattered around. So it's gonna be fun and it's gonna be interactive. And I hope everybody can just reflect and, like I said, just enjoy the moment and have a little bit of nostalgia for a couple of days.
Bro, did you say, I'm sorry, you say a VCR, bro? You are going to take, some of these kids are going to look at you like a dinosaur when you bring that out. That's like bringing out an 8-track for me. I'm like, what is this? No, I love that, though. I love that because, like you said, that's all part of our childhood and our connection. And real quick, Kya, before we go, any additional last information people need to know if they are interested in this art series event?
I say come bring a friend, be yourself, be open to learning and like being interested in new things. Especially I think with like the framing portion, just be open to learn.
Right. Absolutely. It's going to be a lot there, a lot to expect, and we are excited to be there. And we thank you both for not only taking time to be here, but collaborating with local West Bloomfield businesses to provide those type of events there. Once again, from the 2-day art event series that will be happening at Art and Frame in West Bloomfield, September 20th and September 21st, we have Daniel Parker and Kya Shipman. Thank you both for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.